So, who are the star-seeded people, and why do they come to Earth?
I think that's a hugely important topic. I have a lot to say on that actually. I think so. This is theosophy. And as a research analyst, I just present these ideas. See what you feel about that. Theosophy teaches that 18.5 million years ago, a great being from Venus, an avatar, a god, came here to create this new earth. So, what was before that? I'm not sure. There might have been a first root race. I'm not sure. We're the fourth. And this earth is not one of the sacred planets, but I've said before, that said, we have the only one in the solar system that's produced somebody at the level of what's called an ascended Christ. So Sanat Kumara came here and called in beings from the universe to do things and to create, to be in charge of the physical world. The ones in the physical world we now identify as demons because they got out of hand 100 years, 100,000, little before that, actually, 100,000 before that, at the end of Atlantis. Then that's another topic. But their purpose is to hold the physical world in place. Sanat Kumara working with the high councils, with universal, whatever you want to call that great high level of energy, called in beings who wanted to come and experience Earth. So I don't think there's anybody alive now that was there at that time. That's a long time ago. But this earth did God, so to speak, create any beings whose first lifetime was on earth? Are they pure Terrans? From what I understand, there are. There are. Now, how many? I don't know. I don't know. But a star seeded person or a star born person, some people differentiate between those names, are souls from other parts of the galaxy or this solar system who came to Earth to serve, to bring the energy field and gifts of that planet that they were created on to this Earth. Now, that part is pretty clear. That's pretty easy to understand. I get that. It's like bringing in somebody into a school system that is from a different one and you learn different things. So, how many people are starborn or star seeded? Most. There is a population of souls who spend a lot of time, kind of most their time out in the galaxy, out in other universes, in other star systems. And most of the people on this earth, if they're not from here, they are from somewhere else. My information is that the African American race of human beings and the Native American race of human beings are definitely identified as from somewhere else. Is that true for all the races? I think so. But look, you've been born and will be born many times. Maybe you come in once as an African American, maybe you come in as a native, as a white. So once we understand that, all this race war garbage will dissipate because we will be walking a mile in other people's shoes. That said, there are also beings, and I include myself in this. My soul was created on Vega. Now, I I'm not an old soul, as New Age people call people. I haven't been here that long. But how old is my soul out there? I don't know. So, an old soul literally is somebody that has been on this earth so many lifetimes. You see what I'm saying? There is a difference. But I have spent many lifetimes on Spica, which is like 10 times the size of our sun. Um, I've done the Galactic Wars, my last life. I'm pretty sure I came into the body I am now from the Galactic Wars. And there's reasons why I believe that. I could be totally full of shit. So how do you know? How do you know? You don't, but you don't and you do. I think it's a hugely important question because it validates the so-called alien controversy, which is related to what? Our five physical senses. Elon was right. He doesn't believe in aliens, that they're not here. He's never seen one. He's right about that. There are a few so called alien beings, not a lot, who are in bodies here. But you have to understand that that is rare. There's no reason to do that. First of all, if you are from, let's say, Mars, you're not going to last very long with Earth gravity, energy field, atmosphere. So the physical body is related in our world, which is physical, to the five physical senses. Mars is a couple million years ahead of us because we just keep recycling the same shit over and over. We'll get it. The beginning of that change will be when Maitreya shows up on the day of declaration and the masters of wisdom return to the world energetically and physically. Not all of them, about 14. So, how can you know? Well, I think I'm a star person. You probably are. You probably are. But Mars, that's the planet ahead of us, next in our evolution, they know how to use their willpower, their will, to press their will into matter. They did it so well that they're not even physical anymore. They're in the etheric. And there are plenty of etheric entities and beings on this planet all the time, all the time. But on Mars, Mars has beings that are about the level that we are here. They have some a little below, then they have some that are like from Pluto. You don't want to mess with them, they're awful. But they also have some very, very highly evolved beings. That said, if you are here as a person, and if your soul was created on Mars, like with all star seeds or star soul people, when you come to Earth, you have to start over. That's the treachery and the wonder. You start swabbing the deck before you're going to become a captain of a ship. How long afterwards? Once you come into the physical life of Earth, this agreement of karma, which came from Sirius, the planet Sirius, good and bad, what does that mean? Well, we know. So you start over and you will spend thousands of lifetimes just figuring out who the hell you are as a person. You are destined to reach the level of a Christ. In some life, you will go through the fourth initiation, and as the fifth, you will become a master. Now, will you go back home to your planet? You can. Will you go into the universe? You can. Will you stay on Earth and be one of the sonship people? I don't know. This stuff is really heady, heady stuff. The reason I mention this is to offer hope because Earth is hard, it's dense, and we're so attenuated to our five physical senses on this planet to get stuff done that we get bombarded with negativity from those senses. We know that. So, part of what you can do to help yourself feel more comfortable here is to find out why the hell you're here anyway. What are you doing? What's your purpose? What do people around you say about you? You know, you're really, really good with kids. We noticed this. You're a kid magnet. Or, oh my God, you drew that? How did you do that? Or, you built that cabin with your friends? Are you serious? So these are specialized, and that might just be from your personality, which is how you deal with your physical senses. But if you back it up far enough, those are things that you've learned in other lifetimes and come here to perfect. And that's when the soul kicks in. Most people are not from this earth. You are a guest here. And as a guest, you are obligated to fulfill certain resolutions, rules, obligations, just like anywhere else, as above, so below. So the thing about some folks saying, well, I'm from somewhere else, look how special I am. You are and you aren't, but everybody you're telling that to is the same as you. You see that? This is where our personality separates us, and we all do it. Oh my God, our ego does it. Now, the beings who guard and guide you, some of them will be connected to where your soul was created. What planet is that? There is a technique, and I forget who did this. The woman here, oh God, 15 years ago, her name is Jean Ann Wilson. You can search her name. She's in Missoula. And she and other people have a technique that they have been taught that is quite valid that will tell you where you're from and what you came here to do. It's awe-inspiring and it's shocking. So it puts you more in touch with the what the hell? Are you kidding? That's me. It makes you feel good about yourself. It also scare the hell out of you. So hand in hand, we learn and we grow. But what we are really here to do is to go home. When I was a child, I used to go out in the yard at night and look up at the sky and scream at them, you left me here. Yes and no. I mean, come on, Zoe. Nobody left you. You know, I was a child with a child's mind, but I was very in touch with these things, partially because it was my job to do so. But my parents really honored, they were very creative, theatrical, kind of wonderful people. They're like, oh, yeah, she's doing that again. Nobody said, well, you're not, you can't do that. So I was allowed to be. As I got older, I started to learn more about star-seeded people. So let me stop there. What do you have any questions about that? That's a lot of intel, Linda, that may or may
I,
not be true.
but it because it feels comforting in that way that when you feel this, I wonder if people who are awkward or maybe even the neurodiverse are they have a hard time being human because they've not been human before or not been human for a few lifetimes.
No, I guarantee you, if you're in that category, you've been human quite a bit. That's not it. I think it has to do more with the personality. The personality ray of the body is different than the soul ray, usually. And the personality ray is very connected to our emotions, our astral body. And I think neurodiverse, that is a personality thing. It can be a neurological thing. And when in anybody's life have you not felt alone or different? I mean, come on. It's also a lesson and a teaching to say, I feel alone and different because what I've been doing doesn't work anymore. I need to see me differently, differently. So when somebody says, "Oh, Zula, you're probably an old soul," I go, "No, I'm not." "Oh, yeah, you are." "No, I'm not. I haven't been here that long." You know,
Are there, that makes me wonder. We talk about old souls. Are there new souls, like brand new souls?
good point. No, there aren't any more. There are no more infant souls being created for this earth. That time's up for that. The people in some of those African, the very remote tribes have been infants. They still might be, but there are a lot of baby souls in certain planets. One of the countries that has a huge amount of old souls is Iran. Huge, huge amount of old souls in Iran. And you will see a change in that country that's coming. Look at these times we're in. Oh my God, it's brilliant. But there are no more little binky baby souls. We've passed through that. We're in the new age. So
We're
I
old
think, what,
better than
honey?
we're old enough to know better then.
Oh God, are we ever? I wonder about myself sometimes. I tell you what, I watched myself yesterday. We were in town because my truck tabs are expired since December. I thought, what the heck? Why didn't we remember this? So we go downtown, we go to the Department of Licensing. And if you ever think a socialist government is what you want, just go to the Department of Licensing in the United States. You will see it does not work well. But that went fine yesterday. But I watched myself in there, not wanting to be there, totally defer to my big alpha male husband. Oh, he's going to deal with this. Zoe, what do you think about this? Should we get this, that? I said, I don't know. Now, of course, I knew, but that is a personality quirk. And I'll go to that when I just don't want to have anything to do with it. I know that about, and we all have those things. The soul doesn't care. But as a baby soul, an infant, you're going to live in that state. Do I know better? Yeah. But I tend to get away with it. I guess my husband thinks I'm cute. I don't know. Makes him feel like the big alpha. And to me, he's just this impenetrable source. He's just force. He's what he is. So I will play that role every now and then, and I don't care. I'm like two, looking for a cookie or something in the Department of Motor Vehicles. But that's the personality. But that is the state that these infant baby souls live in. I think when Christ said, "Watch for my little ones," he meant the people who are little in their understanding of things. So, are most homeless, unhoused people young baby, I mean, baby or infant souls? No, they're not. They're not. These very timid souls will live in societies that are not in great connection with even third world countries. It's like they live in a fourth country state of mind, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And it's interesting to see how the overlay lapping is between just your personality and your soul or your other lives.
It is huge. And I think that once we have more interaction with what people call aliens, this huge AI is from out in the galaxy. Clearly, it is. And Elon is a transmitter and receiver of so many of these energies. He's such a genius, and there are others like him that are. And somebody said, "Oh, he must be an alien." No, he's a human being from somewhere else who's able to connect with those energy fields. And that is your responsibility as a star seed or star soul person to say, what am I bringing into this earth? What are the skills? Look at somebody like Maria Callas or Michelangelo, who were avatars. I think they're Venusian. They're from Venus, which is highly, highly evolved, the most evolved planet in our solar system. Well, Vulcan is really, but we don't even recognize it. You can barely see it, so close to the sun. But why did Michelangelo or Maria Callas come to Earth and have to start over and move very quickly though through those low levels? They sacrificed. It is a karmic agreement that they had to come here and to offer that, the skills that they had, and there's nobody like them. Now, are they still here? I don't think so, and I'm not sure how that works. I think as an avatar, when an avatar person, let's say the soul who showed up as Michelangelo in that life, when he gets to the initiation of a master, I think he goes back to Venus. But you have people a responsibility greater than your own needs to bring a brilliance from your star system or your planet into this earth. Now, how do you do that? I don't know. It's really personal. But I'll give you an example. This helps me. So I like to listen. I'll put my feet up and I'll listen to a guided meditation because I'm not good at meditating. This is the only one I can be entertained and meditate at the same time. Do not do what I do, but that works for me. So there's this wonderful, lovely voice, this lovely woman, and it's a crystal cave. It's on YouTube, crystal cave meditation where you talk to your guidance. So of course, for the guided meditations, they move you into a state of mind where you're receptive. And I ended up with her guidance into a crystal cave. And she said, now your guidance, and she said guides, and I hate that term. It just bothers me. But your guides will come in and see who you see. Well, I saw a couple I recognized, and then I saw one going, come here, wanting me to get up and follow him to the side of this crystal cave or something was written on the wall. So typical me, I didn't do that. I chose to go and to dive into this turquoise pool to where my skin, when I was in the pool, became turquoise. When I came up for air, it was clear. It was amazing. There were a bunch of fairies and gnomes, and that's my little childish world that I can go into. So when I came out of that meditation, this was about 10 at night. I was flabbergasted. I just sat there. I couldn't move. I'm looking around the room going, what the hell is that? Because you think you make it up, right? Not until I woke up the next morning and looked at it from a different perspective that I realized how real that was. So I'm like, oh my God, how did that happen? Left brain, right brain kicks in. It's like, I have to know. And I said, what was he wanting me to see? What was he wanting to show me? So, typical human nature. Last night I thought, well, I'll turn that meditation on again and I can go back into that squishy, wishy little comfortable place and talk to these guidance people again. Well, I went back to the cave, but it was totally different for me. It wasn't comfortable. There were some beings there that I'm like, what the hell are they talking about? This doesn't feel feel comfortable. This isn't emotional. And they were standing and talking. So I came out of that going, yeah, I feel pretty good, but it wasn't what I wanted. So, crazy ass Zoli, I wake up this morning, I was like, oh, these were people from another star system saying what he was writing on the wall was a map, a star map. Okay. So when you have these experiences, your brilliant subconscious mind will know and remember all of it. Then we start to chop it up. It's like going to a buffet. I want that. I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Then we sit and eat it and like, well, I didn't like that. So we get into our human judgment mode. Try not to do it. You can't. You just can't. So now, you know what I'm thinking? Well, tonight, I'm going to go back into that crystal cave and see if I can see that map. So this is a process that you can use. And what the energy field was around these beings is, Zoe, that's your home out there. You're doing time on planet Earth and you're serving, but that's your home out there. So probably what I'm going to do, and I'll let you know if I remember, if I don't get too embarrassed by whatever happens, is say, okay, I want I want some visuals. And what am I looking for a map for? I don't know. Why would I do that? I could look at the stars in the sky, and I can't even point out. I'm pointing out stars and their satellites. I don't. It's not a skill I have. It's not a language I know. I just don't. So there's always something behind the something. When you are looking for your soul work and your impression, it's not a directive. It's a feeling, and it fills your whole body. It's like diving into that pool that was turquoise, and my whole body, everything I was in it. That is what your soul is and your home planet. Because you were created, you took your first breath or first energetic breath on a place that you were created with every energy field of that place. And that's a lot of times why you feel lonely because you're on a mission here. My husband used to say they're in Fayetteville, they're waiting to see if they're going to go out. They're on Aztec. You can't really leave around Fayetteville because you got 4 hours if you get called up for a mission. That's what this is. You're on Aztec. You're waiting to see if you can be called for something. And you are. You are. But the hope is that we are, and the truth is that we are reaching a time on this planet when you will see the world teacher standing, or you will hear his voice inside of you saying, you matter, and you will know absolutely that you do. And it's already happened on the higher planes. It is now filtering from the spiritual realm into the mental, into the emotional astral, and then it will happen here. So the earth calls in beings to help. It calls in specialists. And I theorize that in every life, we are created to be a specialist, right? Our soul is. We improve that speciality. We improve it by doing what? Trying and having a hard time figuring shit out. It's hard. You graduate from Earth School, oh my God, you shine. This is a tough room to play.